After Rex Tillerson was ousted as Secretary of State this week, we hear there are more cabinet shakeups to come as well. Of course, that affects the administration's policies. We are going to welcome our chief White House correspondent, John Gizzi. The rumor is that John Bolton is being rumored as the next national security advisor. What is the next move, and how is this all affecting the White House in your view?
Well, keep your eye on Friday. Write that on your calendar, because Friday is usually fire day in the White House. The president in the past has let his chief of staff go. He has let his press secretary resign, and he has let one of his top national security advisors leave, all on Friday late in the day after the press briefing, so conveniently there's no questions. Now, it is rumored that this Friday will indeed be the night of the long knives, and that at least 2, maybe 3 cabinet officials will go, and as you say, possibly the national security advisor, General McMaster. As we get closer to it, I'll know a little bit more, but I can say that was topic du jour before the press secretary's briefing today.
So interesting. Well, you know, there seem to be a lot of dueling opinions on our Newsmax Facebook page about Rex Tillerson's firing this week, his replacement, and even the way Tillerson was fired. I just want to read a couple of those. Chris L. said he just wants everyone to move on. Tired of the Tillerson story, the man was not doing what his boss asked him to do. Boss fired him. End of story. Happens all the time. Dean D. said, Rex didn't listen or get along with anyone. He wouldn't even listen to people, so he had to go. Trump is a good guy. Stop putting our president down and back him up. Deserves a change.
Well,
your thoughts?
Yeah. Let me just add something. I always like to look for historical precedents. To see a Secretary of State who was basically forced to leave by the president, one has to go back to Woodrow Wilson's administration nearly a century ago, when he wrote such a brutal note to his Secretary of State that the Secretary of State, Robert Lansing, resigned promptly. He got a clue pretty fast. A firing, one has to go back to John Adams, the second president of the United States, firing Secretary of State Pickering. It is so unprecedented to sack someone that high, and usually this is done with consultation, a resignation, and respectful statements from the president and the outgoing cabinet official.
Interesting. And I'm sure John Adams did it over Twitter, too.
That would be very interesting.
It would have been. He would have been very ahead of his time. All right. Well, not everyone was against the former Secretary of State. Some more comments from our Facebook page. Carol V. responded to rumors that Tillerson found about it on Twitter, and she said, I just wish Trump would at least show some respect for these people and personally let them know when they will no longer be serving. He deserved that. That's very much what you just talked about. Michael H. said, Tillerson was in way over his head. Can't blame Rex for Trump's hiring mistake. How do you think that these next shakeups, as you say, perhaps may come as soon as this Friday, do you think that they're going to affect much of the morale in the White House and possibly policy going forward?
If they're handled well, they will not affect morale. You know, in the United Kingdom, cabinet turnover and shakeups are part of the turf. David Cameron experienced it, Margaret Thatcher experienced it, Tony Blair experienced it. That is, letting 3 or 4 cabinet officials move on, but it's always done tastefully with respectful letters of resignation and understanding. If the president can do this with the rumored cabinet members headed for the exit sign, then it will not affect morale. If he pulls another Tillerson, or another Priebus, for that matter, as he did with his White House chief of staff, it will certainly get the staff wondering who's going to be next. You can't function in government that way.